Hello and welcome to Views on News. I am Jawad Hami. Today, in this particular special episode, we are going to talk about the modernization and the enhancement of the capabilities of Pakistan Navy with the induction of two PNS, Pakistan Navy ships. One is Babar and the other one is Hunain, and the formal induction ceremony will take place on the Defense Day, which of course is tomorrow. Without further wasting any single moment, let me quickly bring in our esteemed panel of guests who are joining us in the studio to talk about this particular significant induction, also the kind of implications associated with that. We are honored to have been joined in the studio by Rear Admiral retired Moazzam Ilyas, Senior Analyst. Admiral Ilyas, thank you very much for your time, for being with us on the show tonight. Really appreciate that. Also in the studio, we are honored to have been joined by Mr. Syed Muhammad Ali, Strategic Affairs Expert. Mr. Ali, thank you very much for your time, also for being with us on the show tonight. Really appreciate that. Let me begin the discussion with you, Admiral Ilyas. Before we jump into understanding the major characteristics of these new two ships which have been inducted into Pakistan Navy fleet, let's take a quicker stock of how Pakistan Navy has evolved over time. What have been the major achievements, the legacy of the Pakistan Navy?
Well, thank you very much for having me on the show, and I'm really glad to be interacting through you with the audience here. Pakistan Navy has come a long way, and I can talk about the evolution of Pakistan Navy since its inception back in 1947, when up until I would say late last decade, we were operating all along older ships, older generation ships, except a few new ships that were inducted into Pakistan Navy, but mostly our ships were older generation, either from Royal Navy or from the US Navy. But Pakistan Navy was able to undertake the mission that was assigned to it by the nation through all thick and thins. During 1965 war, 71 war, we were able to tackle a much superior enemy. And especially during 1965, we were able to bottleneck it in the harbor. So we were fairly good with our responses to operations of the war, as well as some military operations other than war. Pakistan Navy is now blessed with some newer platforms. We in the Navy, and I personally, as a representative of the Navy, am really thankful to the nation, who have invested and allocated such a large amount of resources for the upgradation of Pakistan Navy and bringing it at par with any modern Navy of the world, where it has very modern new platforms, both on the surface, subsurface, and in the air modes. So Pakistan Navy is up to shoulder its responsibilities anytime in the future. Inshallah.
Right, I'll come back to you to understand the major characteristics of these two new ships which have been inducted into Pakistan Navy fleet. Now, Mr. Ali, as per your understanding, the legacy of Pakistan Navy, the kind of achievements over the years it had, your understanding regarding that?
I think there are three aspects which are peculiar and unique to Pakistan Navy. Number one, unlike other sister services which are very important and critical, it is the only four-dimensional force that we have. It operates on the surface of the sea, it operates under the surface of the sea, it carries out operations on land, and it also has an aerial capability as well. Secondly, as the world is changing and the pivot of the world's security and wealth is shifting towards Asia Pacific, I think this region is becoming very important for the safety, security, and prosperity of the entire world, not just this region. And most of the trade between industrialized world with our customers and suppliers is conducted through maritime routes. Therefore, I think today Pakistan Navy's role is far more important and critical in protecting our maritime interests, our national security interests, and guarding our sea lanes, which are facing much more challenges than before. The second aspect is, when you look at our traditional adversary in the East, I think their defense posture is also gradually shifting as part of their Indo-Pacific strategy. They are putting in more investment and more capabilities in their Navy as compared to some of the other services. So the threat has also risen. So I think in order to maintain a balance of sea power, it is very important for Pakistan Navy to invest more money, resources and capabilities to ensure that the peace prevails in this region. Our adversary does not try any irresponsible act in future. And the third aspect, which is very important, as Admiral Saab rightly pointed out, if one were to summarize the entire journey of Pakistan's Navy's evolution in 76 years, the first stage was based on, like he rightly pointed out, inducting some weapon systems and surface vessels which were of British and American origin. The second stage was when we inducted some modern weapons from France, from Britain, from China. But now, Alhamdulillah, we have entered the third stage, in which we are not just inducting, we are producing jointly, and there is a greater emphasis on indigenization to reduce external dependence, but also to safeguard our precious foreign exchange reserves and recover from a technology denial and external coercion regime as well.
Admiral Ilyas, when you talk about these two new ships which have been inducted into this particular fleet, talking about the first one, Babar, what are the chief characteristics of this particular one and what makes it unmatched?
Right, Babar, first of all, let me tell you that this induction, which is taking place tomorrow, which is 6th of December and which is celebrated in Pakistan as the Defense Day of Pakistan, the induction has been programmed or planned to be conducted on 6th, so as to mark the sacrifices that have been done by the soldiers, the officers of all the three armed forces, but in particular the Navy. The induction of these ships is therefore, on 6th of September, is very important and a moment of pride, not only for the Navy but also for the nation as a whole. And in particular for me, because when I was in the Navy as a captain, I commanded one of the ships which was named Babar.
You're making a very important point, Admiral Ilyas. I'll come back to you to take your deeper understanding regarding that, and also you are talking about the particular experience of your own self. We are honored to have been joined actually by another participant, Vice Admiral retired Faisal Rasool Lodi, has served as Vice Chief of Naval Staff. Admiral Lodi, thank you very much for your time, for being with us on Views on News tonight. Really appreciate that. Now, when we talk about the induction of these two new ships into Pakistan Navy fleet, Babar and Hunain. Now, these inductions, what do these inductions actually signify, and what sort of an implication this particular induction is going to have when we talk about the overall defense capability of Pakistan?
Walaikum assalam, and thank you very much for inviting me, and congratulations on holding this program on this for this important day, which goes deep down in our history as a legacy. And as was being discussed a little while ago, the induction has been timed with the Defense Day of Pakistan, also to mark the resolve of Pakistan as a nation, and including the unity which was demonstrated in 1965 by the armed forces of Pakistan and the nation of Pakistan. So that resolve itself we all cherish as Pakistanis, and that reflects the strength, no matter whatever was the number of assets and manpower we had at that time, and even now, the faith which as a nation we had in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the resolve and courage which the armed forces demonstrated during that conflict for national security, it will go deep down in our history for the generations to come. So the induction of these two platforms is very significant event, if you ask me. These two ships are not merely two platforms, but they are reflective of a very well deliberated developmental strategy of Pakistan Navy, which has been pursued for many years, rather many decades. And it is now translating into adding and augmenting a very phenomenal strategic capability in the naval forces. So the first ship, which is Babur, is part of the Moazzam class ship, constructed in collaboration with Turkey. 4 of these ships will inshallah be inducted in times to come. And regarding its capabilities, much has been already discussed in the media, but it is, if you ask me to simplify in one line, it is as capable as any other modern, potent warship of this size working anywhere else globally. The silver lining of this project was also a very significant level of indigenization, which has been or which is being achieved as part of this project. Pakistan will have design rights to construct more ships of this type, and the 5th ship of the series work has already commenced, and it is already named as the first Jinnah class frigate, which will be inducted in Pakistan's inventory in times to come.
Right, Admiral Lodi, when we talk about this phenomenon of indigenization, you mentioned significant level of indigenization when we talk about these inductions. Already Mr. Ali has also pointed to this particular fact. How important this particular phenomenon is when it comes to modernization and also enhancement in the overall capability of Pakistan Navy?
The first and the foremost factor and the advantage of indigenization is obviously self-reliance and are not being dependent on any other nation in times of crisis. And Pakistan, we all know the history, has suffered a lot in past as part of these global sanctions, economic sanctions, military sanctions. And I think that has been a blessing in disguise, because that has inculcated a feeling of insecurity in past, which has been overcome gradually with very considered efforts by the 3 armed forces. And we are soon reaching that level where we will not be dependent on anyone else. So that is one major advantage of pursuing the path of indigenization. What I was referring to was we legally acquired the proprietary design rights of these ships. So the 5th ship, which has been contracted, is going to be, and the work is already in progress, it is going to be designed by our engineers, and it will be going to be constructed by our engineers in Pakistan, inshallah. And very soon we'll be one of the few nations in the region and even beyond, which will be constructing warships of this size and this magnitude at our own. And that also opens the door of growth and export potential, which is very valuable for our own economy, besides saving a lot of national exchequer, which we would have otherwise been paying.
How bigger a potential does this particular thing carries with itself? This is a very important, pertinent point that you've highlighted, that it will open the door of that export potential. How bigger is that?
Well, I don't want to juggle around with any numbers, but academically speaking, a warship of this size these days costs around $300 million a piece. So you can do the math associated with these figures. If you are able to, let's say, construct a ship in 200 million, and you're gonna, able to sell it off to a reliable friend elsewhere in 250, you're getting a lot of money.
Right, your point is well taken. You talked about indigenization, we talk about the partnership also. Now, this particular ship, Babar, in partnership with Turkey and also the other one with Romania, how important that partnership has been in enhancing Pakistan's capability when it comes to producing itself, learning that particular skill. Also, how crucial it is going to play a part when we talk about the future partnership, perhaps with other countries as well.
So I think that's a very pertinent question which you have raised. And if I can share with you, with the project with Turkey is a very classical case of manifestation of a partnership which is built on historic relations as well as trust. So in the design and construction of all the 4 ships, Pakistani engineers and our teams have been, from day one, they have been very actively involved. As I said, the relationship is based on trust. So nothing is inaccessible to our engineers and courtesy of our Turkish brothers. Having gained that experience over design and construction of 4 ships, they have already started working on the 5th at their own. So this partnership is very deep-rooted, not only technically, but strategically as well. And with the passage of time, with more projects, I think related to defense and particularly Navy, the partnership is bound and destined to go stronger in times to come.
A point very well made. Vice Admiral retired Faisal Rasool Lodi has served as Vice Chief of Naval Staff. Thank you very much for taking time out for viewers on News Tonight. Really appreciate that. Admiral Ilyas, please go ahead with your thought that you were already putting forth.
Somehow I have a feeling that Admiral Lodi has hijacked a lot of my points. However, I'll try and catch up with some of the areas that he has left as a gap. These ships, both of these ships, which will be inducted tomorrow, inshallah ta'ala, Babar, as it was highlighted, is a Moazzam class ship. It is in use with the Turkey. We have built both these ships in order to enhance our deterrence against the enemy aggression, to increase our power potential, and to be able to stay out at sea for longer duration of time. And it is necessitated by the very special location, geostrategic location of Pakistan, where we have to ensure maritime security not only for our own shipping, sea lines of communication, but also for the international sea lines of communication that pass very close to our coastlines, emanating from the Strait of Hormuz, going towards Bab al-Mandab or Yemen, or Strait of Malacca to China and rest of the world. So it becomes a duty for Pakistan to be able to surveil that area, gather intelligence of any undesired activity in this area, and to be able to respond to that threat in time. Both of these ships, as Admiral Lodi has also highlighted, have been fitted with state-of-the-art weapon systems as well as sensors. And if I was to name a few, it has a vertical launch surface-to-air missile and a very long-range and very capable weapon system, which is indigenously built for surface-to-surface engagement. Also, Babar-class ships are going to have its own sonar and an underwater weapon system to be able to neutralize any underwater threat. So both these ships, when we talk about Hunain, by the way, Hunain also brings along, a 76 Auto Melara gun, a surface-to-surface engagement capability, and surface-to-air capability. Both these ships are also capable of carrying helicopter, so they can carry out long-range surveillance.
So, Admiral Ilyas, on what levels and to what extent both of these ships vary or are different from each other?
Mostly, if you want to differentiate between the two, that is on the class of the ship. One is in the frigate class, which is Moazzam, and the other is a corvette, which is a which is an offshore patrol vessel. Mainly, its role is to stay out at sea, show our presence in our own waters, carry out surveillance, make sure that no maritime security threat emanates from that area, and the area is safe for national as well as international operations.
That is for Hunain. That is offshore patrol ship.
That is offshore patrol vessel. Yeah, that's right.
So, what about the other one?
Babar and Belgium class, they are as good as any other warship of this size, and it is able to capable of carrying out operations against the enemy, as well as the operations which are peacetime operations, which we call them as military operations other than war, in which it could be anti-piracy, anti-smuggling, anti-terrorism, or anti-fishing activity. So these ships are capable of undertaking the whole spectrum of military operations. In case of war, they can take on enemy at any range and at any depth, I would say. So these ships, both of them are capable, and the good thing about them is that it is going to employ some indigenous missile systems and weapon systems, as well as some network-centric warfare equipment, ESM, and communication systems which are built within Pakistan.
Indigenous systems, this phenomenon of, again, that very particular question that I asked Admiral Lodi, this phenomenon of indigenization, how important it is at this particular point in time, and he's also talked about that potential of opening the door for the exports to the outer world as well.
I can assure you that it was this aspect of indigenization, or the requirement to build our own sensors and weapon systems, was present as ever, because there are countries which at times of crisis do not let the weapon systems or its critical parts be allowed to come to Pakistan. And in case of war, if you are left high and dry because you need an equipment or a part of it from a country abroad and it is not ready to give, so the only answer to that is indigenization. So that was the need, and we have come a long way in creating and manufacturing our own weapon systems, as well as some very critical electronic warfare, as well as communication systems, network-centric systems, the command and control systems, and all because of the organization that Ali Saab is representing or has represented for a long time. You will hear it from him. The organization has been in step, hand in glove with us, and has been doing a lot of development to fulfill the requirements of not only Navy but the Army and the Air Force. And to talk about the potential to export, I think we are already in that field. There are JF-17s which are being exported. You know about some of the missiles, very critical missiles which are being exported to some friendly countries, and we will be seeing the naval vessels as well being exported.
Being exported to the friendly countries, that leads us to a question regarding the partnerships which have been already going on. Admiral Lodi talked about the partnership with Turkey, a very deep-rooted one. I'll be taking a view regarding as to these partnerships, how important they have been historically, and where are the avenues where we can have the new partnerships with other countries, the friendly countries. Mr. Ali, you already were of the view that this particular region is becoming more and more important. The threat has risen when we talk about India on the eastern side. So with this enhancement in the capability, this indigenization, Pakistan becoming self-reliant in this particular field, also that might lead to more and more exports to the friendly countries. Also, what sort of a message, particularly to India, does this enhancement of capability send there?
I think this is a very important message at 4 levels. First off, I think the most important message is to the Pakistani nation to be confident and to be proud and to feel secure that Pakistan's maritime security interests are in safe, capable and responsible hands. That is the most important message on the cusp of Defense of Pakistan Day. The second important message definitely is to our adversary that any irresponsible act of aggression will not go unpunished, and challenging or harming peace is not a viable option for any country. And Pakistan, this development, acquisition and operationalization of these two warships is a symbolic evidence that Pakistan is committed to safeguarding its national security, its maritime security against all possible threats. The third important message is to our friends that Pakistan has the confidence, the experience, the capability and the knowledge and skill to expand defense collaboration with different countries. Pakistan, if we recall the Augusta 90P class, we had close collaboration with France. Now we are collaborating with China for additional submarines. And in case of these two warships, our naval defense cooperation is expanding beyond these traditional partners to Romania and Turkey. That is again an evidence that Pakistan's operational, technical capability is respected, and these countries want to work with Pakistan to develop high-tech weapon systems. And the fourth message is to the prospective customers. Naval industry is a global lucrative industry. It's competitive. At times, like Admiral Saab rightly pointed out, we have suffered from technology denials, we have suffered from sanction regimes. Now, Alhamdulillah, our defense capability has come to a level that we can consider offering some of these products and defense equipment for sale and compete with the international market with confidence. And Alhamdulillah, this is again a source of great pride and honor for Pakistan.
Right. You talked on 4 levels. The message has been sent with this particular induction. Talking about the third one, the friends, the confidence that Pakistan carries, that it has got that knowledge, it has got that skill. And when we talk about the partnerships, the historic partnerships, Turkey, now the new partners also, Romania, you talked about Romania. Where is the potential to find out those more countries to collaborate with?
I think if you look at this prospect in a geopolitical context, the world order is transforming. That is opening up new opportunities and avenues for bilateral, close collaboration with number of countries. Because from a theoretical perspective, a multipolar world offers more opportunities for the developing world. And there are new avenues being emerging. I'll give you one example in which I think Navy takes the lead. I think the legacy and the tradition of naval diplomacy is something which is unique. Pakistan Navy has the ability, it has showcased its goodwill and its naval diplomacy with so many countries. It has amassed more than 40 countries together in major international exercises, at times which included countries which had confrontational relationship with each other. We have had exercises under the leadership of Pakistan Navy which had Iran and Saudi Arabia together, which had China and United States together. That shows that Navy has the tact, the wisdom and the trust of the international community, that Pakistan Navy is not only a factor of stability in this region, which is and cooperating with which promotes international peace and security. It safeguards our national security and maritime interests, and to collaborate with it offers valuable experience to other countries which want to benefit from Pakistan Navy's professional excellence, from its impeccable record, and I think increasing defense production prowess as well. So I think these factors make me as a Pakistani really proud that Pakistan's maritime security interests are in safe hands, and anybody who might have any ulterior motive or aggressive designs has no hope of any misadventure being successful.
Right. Admiral Ilyas, this particular message, when we talk about the threat from the eastern side, Ms. Ali was of the view the threat has already risen. India pouring in more resources in order to build its strength. So with these inductions, what sort of a specific message has been sent there?
Right, Jawad, I see the Indian threat as multi-folds, especially in the recent times when India has been given access to Western weapon systems, Western platforms, Western aerial vessels, and what it has done is that it has created a very grave conventional imbalance in this region, especially with Pakistan, because Pakistan and India are the two countries in this region who were compatible, who are adversaries, and who had been, seeing each other in the eye. India lately has been given a lot of access and a lot of equipment by the United States and the West. So I see that it has created that imbalance, and it has threatened Pakistan to a large extent in the conventional domain. Pakistan needed, especially in the maritime domain, to create some kind of a wedge between this imbalance and bring a parity between the two forces. And with the induction of these two platforms and the other platforms of this type, which will be inducted in Pakistan Navy very soon, I think a very strong message should be conveyed to the right corners, and it has already been conveyed, that Pakistan means no adventure. No country, no force should be looking at Pakistan with their ulterior motives. We are capable not only to defend ourselves, but to defend the international shipping that passes through. The responsibility that we have towards the international shipping, we are very much capable of deterring any threat to that international ships.
Right, Mr. Ali, you already talk about naval diplomacy, that phenomenon, also those joint naval exercises. When we talk about the collaboration, particularly in this particular region, what countries can take lead in order to ensure the stability, peace and security in this particular region as it grows more and more important with each passing day?
I think your question reminds me of a very famous saying of our great founder, Qaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, that Pakistan will be a harbinger of peace for the whole world. So I think Pakistan Navy, I'm sure, is willing to collaborate with anybody who wants to promote peace and security in the world, who wants to act and behave responsibly, who shares the common interest of peaceful cooperation and progress for common benefits. And as I earlier pointed out, they have a unique experience of inviting at times more than 40 navies from around the world. That is an evidence that how much respect, trust and goodwill Pakistan Navy enjoys in the Committee of Nations, which includes some of the major powers around the world. I've been teaching at National Defense University for many years, and I used to say, when you look at the last 200 years of history, the difference between Britain and Great Britain was that of Royal Navy. How the world, how a regional power becomes a global power, it's the role of Navy which allows it to command the sea and to project power in a manner which is perhaps not possible for any other force. And you look at the current crises in case of Gaza, you look at the crisis in Hormuz, in the Bay of Hormuz, anywhere else, you look at any great power, how do they project power? How do they protect their economic, geopolitical interests? And it is also a very important instrument of deterrence as well, how to deter aggression in any domain. So I think naval power projection is very important part of any nation building project, and it has several very important economic and socio-economic and industrial spin-offs. When you develop a naval shipbuilding industry, it allows you to translate that expertise and industrial knowledge into developing ships which might be of commercial value. And then you can, as has been earlier discussed, you can have collaboration, and maybe next stage could be export revenue as well. And that will allow you to build an industrial base which will offer opportunities to our youth in terms of jobs, careers, different branches of knowledge. So that will be a very useful opportunity for our youth to benefit from. I know people who have experience in maritime design, and they are sought after, and it's a very lucrative career, let me tell you. Those people who are involved in designing and manufacture of ships, they are very sought after, and they make a lot of money. So it's not just about the defense sector, but defense sector, let me share with you as an example. You look at the US defense industry, for example. They develop some defense products, but that knowledge and experience is equally useful for developing other products which are commercially available and can be sold. The US Lockheed Martin has a naval shipbuilding arm. They manufacture F-22 fifth generation fighter. They also build other aircraft as well. So a defense industry is like the core of an industrial hub in a nation. When a nation wants to emerge and rise as an industrial power, I think shipbuilding industry can be a very important source which allows the synergy of knowledge, talent, skill into building defense capability, but also surmounting some of the economic challenges and improving, hopefully, eventually, your export revenue.
So what I understand from your take is that it creates an effective and efficient ecosystem, also at the same time providing the opportunities for the talented youth. Admiral Ilyas, your understanding, opportunities for the youth, the creation of that very efficient ecosystem with this naval industrial complex.
Well, I think a very valid point was brought out by Mr. Ali. Especially when we talk about the potential of a nation, it can be determined by the shipbuilding industry. I say that because I'm currently heading a project for the construction of a shipyard at Gwadar. So I have been involved in the shipbuilding industry and the industrial processes. Historically, if you see in the past about 3 decades, what has happened is that the countries which are now the leading economies of the world have focused on shipbuilding, ship construction, and selling it in the open market. There are about 100,000 ships of various sizes in the world at the moment, and if you see the yards which have constructed it, you will probably see or pick up 3 or 4 names, very leading names: China, South Korea, Japan, maybe Philippines, and to some extent the Indian shipyards. So I see that to exploit a nation's potential, we must venture and focus into shipbuilding industry. This industry is a harbinger for a number of other industries which have to support the shipbuilding operations. I see that in Pakistan, we are currently only one shipyard country. In the global market of shipbuilding and ship repair, we are not even getting 0.5% of that share that otherwise we can fetch from that international market. So currently we are not getting anything because we have only one shipyard. Should we have more number of yards, we will be able to not only build ships, repair them and make them ready. Then you have a very large industrial base to support these yards. of course, a number of opportunities for the youth to be able to, increase their capacity and capability, both in the architecture, in the designing part, in the actual engineering part of that, and so many other industries that will be available. So yes, you are right in a way that the ecosystem with the maritime industries and in particular the shipbuilding industry, it has immense potential for Pakistan.
So going back to that particular question of collaboration with the friendly countries, also particularly to ensure peace, stability and security in this particular region as it grows more important with every single passing day, which countries do you primarily identify? Mr. Ali was of the view that Pakistan's naval diplomacy has earned the confidence of at least 40 countries being joint naval exercises. I'm being curious at the moment about understanding how that particular confidence of bringing 40 countries into joint naval exercises actually translate on operational level when it comes to ensuring the stability and security of the maritime routes.
Okay, absolutely. Again, very pertinent and very good question. You see, the maritime domain is can pose a lot of challenges. One is the weather part, the other is the actual, the dynamics, the kinetic part of that. And in the current century, what has happened is that the traditional, conventional threats, which used to emerge from a country to another country or to a group of countries, has now diminished. And what has happened is that there are actors, non-state actors, a lot of them, in some cases state actors, which create and bring threat to the international shipping, to the ships and fishing activities that take place, and to counter those challenges, those threats at sea. It is not possible for a single nation or for a single navy to counter it, to combat it. So what has happened in this particular century is that the countries have started collaborating. Navy has started undertaking an exercise under the name of Aman, and as it says, simply the meaning of Aman is to peace, create peace. So it is meant to create peace in the region, and to create that peace, our efforts were to bring a lot of countries, as many countries as possible, with their observers, with their vessels, with their air platforms, with their special operation forces, together in Pakistan to create an operational capability which is combined capability of all these countries, all these forces, to be able to operate together in the areas where there are these kind of threats. So Pakistan Navy has been able to very effectively create that interoperability and synergy between all these countries in order to combat the threat which is common to all the other countries in the region and beyond.
This very insightful discussion actually leads me to conclude. Of course, there are various other aspects that need to be discussed in detail, but unfortunately, every good discussion has to end because there is a shortage of time, and I'll have to end the show over here. But this was indeed very insightful discussion. Thank you, both of you, for being with us. Rear Admiral Retired Moazzam Ilyas, Senior Analyst, thank you very much for your time, for being with us on the show. Mr. Syed Muhammad Ali, Strategic Affairs Expert, thank you very much for your time, also for being with us on the show tonight. We really appreciate that. Now, viewers, with the induction of these two new ships in Pakistan Navy's fleet speaks volumes. The defense of the country is this episode. Till the next one, take good care of yourselves.